Tom Genovese is with us, and he is with True Blue Power and Mid-Continent Instruments, and we've got a lot to talk about. So let's just start here with the inverter that you brought to us.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about this this piece of equipment and what it does for the pilot.
Right. So for the pilot, it will go ahead and power a lot of the older gyro systems, also used for like radar stabilization and things like that. What's kind of unique about this particular product here is that it is a 115 VAC or 115 volt, 1200 watt, but it's 400 hertz, which is something that we don't really hear too much about anymore, but there are a lot of legacy products that still look for 400 hertz. And so this is designed as a smaller, newer technology or newer design replacement for some of the legacy 400 hertz inverters out on the marketplace.
So what is it about a 400 hertz instrument? Because this is, you've already started to talk Greek to me about those things. So give us just a little bit of an explanation about what that means.
Right, so a lot of the larger aircraft used 400 hertz because of the fact that it was easier for them to get the power distributed through the aircraft. And so there's a lot of onboard equipment that still used 400 hertz instead of what we're familiar with, like with wall outlet power, it's 60 hertz. So basically for traveling the length of the aircraft, they used 400 hertz for everything from attitude gyros, some turn coordinators and things like that. A lot of the larger radar systems are using 115, 400 hertz. So this box just makes it a little bit easier to find a spot on the aircraft that doesn't take too much room. It provides a lot of power, being a 1200 watt unit. And so the advantages are basically the newer design of something that replaces an older legacy product.
So give us a few of the other specs on the box. What does it weigh? What is, what are some of the things that somebody who's considering this kind of a power inverter needs to know? Right.
So the weight of it is less than 8 pounds, which is comparable. The comparable product is about twice as much. So something that was built back in the 1970s weighs anywhere between 15 to 20 pounds. So that's one of the benefits of the TI 1204 product that you see here. The other thing is that we also designed it so that the connector is a pretty standard connector that we've seen with other inverters. So this could actually be used as like a drop-in replacement for some of the legacy inverters out there. So we kind of took those things into the consideration during the design process of this inverter.
I know it's a fully certified product. Was there anything that went into the certification process that you found to be particularly challenging?
Not on this one. It's basically a TSO approval. It might require a STC or some type of installation approval, but usually we'll work pretty closely with a dealer or service center on helping them out with the installation certification if one is required.
And what kinds of airplanes are these going into? This is, I'm guessing, your basic business jet type of device? Absolutely.
I think we would see this product perfect for like the older 30 series Learjets, for example. Some of the older Citations, the Hawkers out there, I think they would all still have a need for this type of inverter.
How many of those airplanes are out there? What's the market like?
Ooh, I think the market is still pretty good. I think there's some newer mandates that are probably making them a little bit less desirable to upgrade, but at least the operators know that if they do have an inverter like this that's a 400 hertz inverter and they need a replacement, at least there is something out there that they could still turn to.
Okay. Well, what else do we have here on the table?
So a little bit different. Over in Europe, our friends there are being faced with a 8.33 kilohertz spacing for their comm radios, and this is a TC230. And the advantage of this little unit here is that it takes 14 volts and it converts it to 28 volts. So if you have a 14 volt aircraft, but you only have access to 28 volt radios, you could use this little converter to up the voltage from 14 volt to 28 volts. So it's a nice little compact design, easy for the installer to go ahead and mount behind the panel and basically meet the requirements for the comm radios. Of course, there's other reasons why you would want to convert 14 volts up to 28 volts for other avionics or equipment, but I think we'll see a lot of the European customers benefiting from this type of product.
So what are some of those other products that might need the conversion up to 28 volts?
You know, we've seen like seat heaters, for example, that might be 14 volt but need to be powered by a 28 volt power supply. So little things like that. Maybe cigarette lighters, I don't know. Probably a long list of different
Most flights
things.
are non-smoking now, aren't they, Tom?
They are, aren't they? So maybe a cigarette lighter is no longer.
Yeah, that might not be a factor. Although there was one in the airplane that I learned to fly in. I recall it very distinctly.
Right, okay, so there you go. And then we also have the AC outlets. And so we make a complete line of inverters. And when you want to take your coffee maker or your vacuum cleaner or your hair dryer on board the airplane, and you need something to plug into. You can tell I'm good with that, aren't you?
Right,
exactly. So we make AC outlets now that work with all of our inverters, and we had the choice of the 3-prong, which we're familiar with here in the United States. We also have the option for a universal outlet, and that's great for our European and customers over in Asia. So it's just to complete the solution with our inverter products.
How common is it for people to want to have AC powered devices on board their airplane? I know that we're talking about the folks who are in the back trying to do business. Is that a pretty common thing now?
Well, TrueBlue Power also makes USB charging ports, and USBs charge most of the tablet devices out there, cell phones and things like that. But if you have a laptop computer, you still need to find a 3-prong outlet to go ahead, or an AC outlet to go ahead and plug in and charge up your laptop. So there is still definitely a market for having AC power in the back of the aircraft. We're working with one airline, a domestic airline here, that had the choice of going with USB ports for their electronic flight bags or AC outlets, and they decided to go with AC outlets just for being a little bit more common with wall outlet power, and they also looked at it from a longevity standpoint, thinking that this technology isn't going to change anytime soon, whereas USBs, we're already seeing the transition from a Type A to a Type C type port. So they wanted to make sure that if they installed something today, that it would be still usable 8 years from now.
And you can still take one of those little cubes and plug that into your AC outlet and convert that over and have your USB charger as well.
That is correct.
So there is that. Are you finding, and is there any market, do you feel like, for maybe a combination product where you would have both the AC outlet and a USB charger in one spot all right together?
It's a great idea, and we actually seen some of the units just like that, a combo unit that has hit the market. What we've seen, or some of our customers that we worked with, want to have the 2 units separated, just because of the fact that having a USB plugged in with a cable and then having something plugged into the AC outlet, they like to separate them a little bit further away from each other, just for convenience purposes, for cockpit use, for example. The other thing is that if you're looking at an airline and you have a combo unit, you're running 115 to the seat, but then you're also you have to convert that down to 5 volts for the USB port. So how many times have you got on an airplane where you have that big metal box that you try to stick your feet underneath the seat in front of you, but you got a big metal box that's there kind of taking up some of your leg space? Well, that's the conversion for 115 down to 5 volts. So if you could eliminate 115 going into the seat, then you free up a little bit more of the foot space.
And so you're finding that particularly for airline customers, it's more of a, they're leaning more towards the USB than the AC. Although I'm sure there are a lot of people who wish they had the AC in the back seat of their at their airline seat, so they could work on their laptop as they travel. Right.
I think talking with some of our airline customers, one of the you would think that on-time arrival and cancellations and things like that would be the #1 customer complaint. It's actually a growing number of passengers complaining more about not having in-seat power. And so there's been a couple of international trips that I've been on where you get on board and the first thing you do is you look between the seat to either find the AC outlet or the USB port, and when it's not there, you're like, how am I going to get through my 2-hour movie if my tablet device doesn't have a fully charged battery? So those are becoming concerns, and I think most of the airlines are addressing them, and USB seems to be the easy way for them to address in-seat power.
Now you've also got a couple of things going on in the battery side of the house, so bring us up to date on what's happening with TrueBlue Power as far as what powers these things is concerned.
Right. No, we're really excited about that. The True Blue Power lithium battery packs, we're seeing more and more certifications being awarded to our Caravan STC, for example, is readily available now. We just amended it to include some of the Blackhawk modified PT6 engines. Some of our partners have STCs for like the Dash 8, the Twin Otters, Robinson helicopters with the R44. So we're really excited about the battery technology. We're working with more OEMs that are also interested, and they see the benefits of the cooler engine starts, the faster engine starts, faster recharge rates that the lithium batteries have to offer. So a lot of work has been put into the lithium batteries over the last 3 years with certifications, and I think people are starting to realize that it is a safe means of aircraft power and a lot more phone calls, and so really exciting times.
What is it about a lithium battery that is particularly attractive when you're looking to either replace or go for an OEM? Is there what is it about that technology that people want to have?
Yeah, I think the weight savings is probably the number one thing. I mean, when it's a 50% weight savings compared to a lead acid or a NiCad battery, that's definitely a benefit there. Something else that some of our customers have seen is there's airlines that are using, well, in the Dash 8, for example, usually you'll start the engines off of ground power, but with the True Blue Power V44 lithium battery, you get the engines off of battery power, and that's a big plus for a lot of the smaller airlines that fly into remote areas where ground power is not always guaranteed to be there. So having the capability of starting your engines off of battery power instead of ground power is a big plus there. Faster recharge rates, so on those short haul trips where you're going from one city to the next and it's just a short flight, it's recharging a lot faster, so you're almost guaranteed that the next stop your engines are going to start when you go looking for battery power.
We hear a lot in your business about the difference between Mainship batteries and other batteries. Can you explain kind of what that difference is?
Right, so True Blue Power makes Mainship batteries, or what we call engine start batteries, and we also make emergency power supplies. So the engine start battery, or the Mainship battery, basically starts either the APU or the engines, the aircraft engines themselves. And then we use the same chemistry, basically the same technology for our emergency power supplies that back up everything from avionics, standby avionics, for example. We're also interested in making emergency power supply for cabin lighting or emergency lighting for the cabin, and there's just a number of different ways that we could use our lithium battery packs to basically power a lot of the different systems that you find on board the aircraft.
Well, Tom, it's great to talk with you. Really appreciate you taking some time to come over and talk with us. It sounds like you've got some interesting products that you've got. And where can folks find you here at the show?
We're located right toward the front. It's booth number 303. We'd love to see everybody come by and learn a little bit more about our True Blue Power batteries and inverters and converters.
Well, great. Well, Tom, thanks very much. Good luck. Hope you have a great show, and we'll see you next time around.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
Aero-News Network's coverage of the 60th Annual AEA International Convention and Trade Show, live from New Orleans, is brought to you in part by the following sponsors.
It's called AirText Plus. The mobile office is now a true, cost-effective win-win reality because being available and part of the communication chain keeps you in control. Visit us at www.airtext.aero for more information and get started staying in touch today.